somebody needs it. So we're working on lesson 4, and this is all about formatting. So what we're going to be doing today is we're going to start with this document that you see in front of us. So hopefully you've got this one open. This was the 4-1 that I emailed out. It's also available in that classroom, but we can go through and take a look at it. It's this travel health to go. And so as we go through, we can kind of point out a couple different things. So this right here, this travel health to go, this headline is taking up like a full third of the page. So this is not very good use of real estate. So this is one of the things that we're gonna clean up right away. We can also see that right now we've got some headings. We've got a lot of some quotations in here. We've got some bullets. We've got an image. We've got some blank space for something that's gonna go over here. It will be a table when we're done with it. So you can see right now we've got this 5-page document that there's a lot of, hi Brenda, there's a lot of like blank white space on here. And so sometimes white space, blank space can be a good thing, and sometimes it can be not such a good thing. In this case, we're really gonna be kind of focusing on cleaning everything in this document up. And then we'll also be kind of bringing it into a couple columns. So we're going to bring it into 2 columns. And then ultimately, we are going to get rid of a whole page of this document. Because when we're done with it, it will be down to 4 pages instead of almost 5 full pages. But it will then be 4 full pages. But it's going to be much cleaner, much tighter than it is right now. And so we will be, like I said, we'll be working with primarily just formatting. We're going to be looking at working with our document margins. We're going to be creating section breaks and column breaks. We are going to add headers and footers with different, like first page, second page. Hi, Tracy. We just have this file open. We haven't started working on it yet. We're just kind of talking about it. But then we're also going to add a table. We're going to format that table. And then we're going to add footnotes and endnotes into this presentation as well. So like citations. So if you've ever had to write a report back in, when you were in college or in your high school, and you had to write a report and you had to cite your sources, this is a way that makes it much easier to create your bibliography or your references or works cited or however you want to develop that. But we're going to look at a way that's going to make it really easy and really clean. Hi Emily, welcome. And so we're just talking about this document that we're going to be working on. It's this 4-
I'm sorry, I just got in because I couldn't find the Zoom thing to get in.
Oh, no worries.
Yeah, you didn't send one, so I had to go back to an older one.
It didn't come.
I sent you an email.
Oh my God!
No.
All right, I'm sorry. I sent it at like 11:30 today. I'm sorry about that.
Oh.
That it didn't go out. Huh? That's bizarre.
So yeah, if people aren't in, they probably aren't knowing how to get in.
Well, let's see. I think almost everybody's here. But let me double check to make sure that it got sent.
I didn't get anything, so, but you know me, Shane, so.
No worries. Yeah, so it went out. Oh,
Well, I didn't get it either.
I didn't get any. Me too.
Huh.
No, I think I saved everything from the last meeting and I was able to get in through that.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, I see that it for some reason it didn't mail until 12:20 today, but it looks like it did get sent. So I apologize if it didn't arrive to you. That's bizarre. Huh, but I'm looking in my sent folders and it says it was ultimately sent at 12:20 today, but I sent it at 11:30. So I don't know why. That's bizarre. Okay, I apologize.
Assignments, but there's no addition on there to join the Zoom meeting.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. You're right. I forgot to do that. I'm sorry about that. That's my bad. All right, so let me close that. All right, so again, my apologies. So we're going to be we're going to be doing a lot of different formatting with this. So let's go ahead and jump right on in. So again, it's this 4-1. And what we're going to do to start with is we are going to adjust our document margins, because you can see right now with this newsletter that we're creating, we've got 1-inch top, bottom, left, and right margins. I can see right over here, I've got 1-inch margin on the right. I've got 1-inch margin on the left. Then I'm also more than 1 inch down from the top. I've got 1 inch at the bottom. And so there's a lot of wasted space right there, especially when we're trying to eliminate or maximize the space that we do have. And again, if we had to print a 5-page document, you know, we're wasting a whole another sheet of paper with an extra, you know, one side to it. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to change mine to page width so you don't have to view it in 2 sheets right now. So I'm going to go ahead and, just for me personally, I'm going to change mine to page width so you can see this document a little bit easier. And then I'm going to go to my layout tab. So from my layout tab, this is where right up here in this page setup group, this is where we're going to be working quite a bit today. And so the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to make sure that I'm at the top of my document. So whether that's Control Home or Command Home or however you get there, or scroll all the way up to the top, it makes no difference. First thing we're going to do is we're going to adjust these margins. So I'm going to go up to this page setup group and then that margins option. And then you can see we've got a lot of different margins here. We've got normal, narrow. I'm going to go ahead and choose custom margins. So when we open up that custom margins, it will allow us to either adjust our top, bottom, left, and right margins independently. We can add a gutter to it. We can add, you know, a left or right gutter, and a gutter is just going to be some empty space basically, where if we had to kind of bind our work, we could add that gutter. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and change all of these margins, our top, bottom, left, and right. We're going to leave that gutter alone, but we're going to change all of these to 0.7. And so the way that we can do that is you can either come here to this little arrow, up and down arrow, click it 3 times to change it to 0.7, or you can just type 0.7, you know, any way you want to do it. Ultimately, it will come out as 0.7, but it makes no difference how you get there. I'm just going to use my up and down arrows and click 3 times on those ones. And so now we've got our margins from 1 inch to 0.7 inches. Now it doesn't seem like a lot, but it's just a little more than a quarter inch on every little margin. But when we do that, you can see it changes that travel health to go. Now it puts this in 1 line instead of those 2 lines. And if we kind of navigate through this document, our 5th page, now it's a little more manageable. Where we had almost 5 full pages before, just by changing that margin about a little more than a quarter inch around the whole page, we've almost eliminated 1 whole page of printing. And now when we start dividing this into some columns, then that's going to take care of everything for us. All right, so we've got that. And now I'm going to go ahead and save this. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to create some sections so we can assign columns to this. Now, one of the things that I will suggest, and I'm going to go check this for Tracy just a second. Yeah, okay, so it will work the same on a Mac as it will on a Windows PC. But if you come down into the status bar down here, it's this like long gray thing at the bottom of your screen. And right now mine says page 4, section 1, page 4 of 5, because I'm close to the bottom of my document. But one of the things that we want to make sure that we have available to us when we're working, especially when we're working with sections, is our section number. And so if you don't see something that says section down here, then we're going to fix that. And so the way to do that is we're going to come down to the status bar, and I'm going to right click on it. And or for Tracy, I think you can control click and it will do the same thing. But it's going to open up our customized status bar menu. And here I would just make sure that we've got our format page number, our section, our page number, and then a vertical positioning at least. And I think we looked at this in like that second lesson that we worked on, but if you weren't able to join us, just make sure that you can see at least your section number, your page number, and that vertical positioning, because when we're placing objects, it's going to be helpful. And then also when we're looking to see where we are on our page, it's going to be helpful as well. And then that section number is just going to help us, because once we start putting columns in here and we create section breaks, it's going to be helpful to know which section we're in. So I'm just going to make sure I've got all of these top 4 active, and then you can just click away from it. All right, so now the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on my formatting marks. And so that's going to be in your home tab, paragraph group, or you can control apostrophe will do the same thing. But I'm just going to click on that little backwards P, that paragraph mark, because I want to make sure that when I'm putting these breaks in, these section breaks, I want to make sure I can see where they're going. Because when you don't have your formatting marks turned on, you're unable to see where the breaks are, because they're just invisible. All right, so now we've got this going on here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come to this general considerations. So it's like the 4th line of text down. I'm going to put my insertion point right in front of this heading. And then I'm going to come up to my layout tab. And then in my breaks, so it's right in this page setup group, I'm going to insert a continuous break. So it's not going to be in a page break. It's going to be down in your section breaks. We want the continuous. So when I do that, you can see nothing happened. If you didn't have your formatting marks turned on, you wouldn't think anything happened. But we can see that right now we have a section break directly ahead of this general considerations. And you can see it says it's a continuous section break. All right, so we've got that. And now I'm going to, so with my insertion point still down here somewhere, as long as it's not up here, we just want to be down here, and it could be in the general considerations heading, or it could be on the very last page. It doesn't make a difference. We just want to be in section 2. And so right now I can see down here in the bottom, it says section 2. So I know I'm in section 2. If I come right up above it, it's going to say section 1. So we just want to make sure that we're in section 2, and then we're still in our layout group. I'm going to come up to columns, and I'm going to put it into 2 columns, but I'm going to say more columns for right now. Because if I do 2 columns, and you can choose more columns, but I'm going to just give you a little preview. If I do 2 columns, I've got this big, huge gap in between the text, and I don't want that. I want to kind of maximize the space that I'm using. So I'm going to go ahead and choose more columns. So in more columns, click on 2 to put it into 2 columns. And then we also want to go down to this spacing between and change it from 0.5 to 0.3. And again, you can either type 0.3 or just click 2 times on that little down arrow, and it will change the spacing. So you'll see that when we do that, I'm going to change it back to 0.5 for a minute. Our columns are 3.3 wide when we have 0.5 spacing. If I decrease that spacing between to 0.3, now our columns are 3.4 wide. So they're a little bit wider, so we can get a little more text on there on each line. And then there's also less white space in the middle. So I'm going to go ahead, I've got that changed. So I'm 2 sections. I changed this to 0.3 spacing between columns. And I'm going to go ahead and say, okay. All right, and then when I did that, and now I can see right down here on my pages, now I'm on page 1 out of 4. So now again, so we eliminated our margins just a little bit, like a 1/4 inch around each margin, and then we put it into 2 columns. And by doing that, we eliminated an entire page of this document. And so I'm just going to come up to my view tab and look at multiple pages. And so we can kind of see where we're at so far. And I can even make mine a little bit smaller so we can see more of it at once. But so right now, so these are the 4 pages. And so you can see when we did this, we eliminated that 5th page, but now we're only a third of we've only got a third of page 4 used. So just by changing that 2 little things, we changed our margins and we put it into 2 columns, we eliminated a ton of unnecessary like blank white space on this document. And you can see we've also got this big spot right here that is not being used. But we're going to change that in just a little bit. All right, so I'm going to go back to my page width view to come back to this. All right. And then I'm going to go to Control Home to get to the top of my document. And then I'm also going to save it so we can save our progress as we're navigating through this. All right, so now the next thing we're going to do is we are going to create page breaks. And so as we type, the application is automatically going to put breaks in for us, where it kind of assumes that we want breaks, because it won't ever leave what are called orphans or widows. And an orphan is when we have one line of text, like there's just one line of text starting on the next page, like from a paragraph. Or a widow is if we've just got like one line of text right up at the end of a page. And so the program, the software is automatically designed not to give us orphans and widows. And I know it's a weird naming for them, but so it's not going to give us orphans and widows. And so it'll automatically put page breaks and columns breaks. So right here you can see this first aid items, this heading is kind of rolled on to one page. Its list is different. And so we can see that, okay, there's some of these things that I would want to change. And to do that, we can add our own page breaks in. And those would be called a hard break. So we've had a soft break would be where the program sets it up for us. A hard break is where we actually say, put a page break right here. And so that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to go down and I'm going to go to where it says malaria, a serious health risk or whatever it is, right? Right here. Oh, sorry if I'm breaking up, I apologize. I just got a little notification. I'll wait just a second. Hopefully. So can you hear me okay, or does it still sound a little choppy? Khadija, can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
Okay, all right. I'm sorry. I just got a little notification that said my internet was unstable for a second, and so I just wanted to kind of stop so I didn't get too far ahead. Thank you. All right, so I'm going to come to this heading that says malaria, a serious health risk. I'm going to put my insertion point right there, so right in front of that. And then here, I'm going to go ahead and go up to my layout again, and then in breaks, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to insert a page break. And so now you can see it added a page break right here. And again, if we weren't looking at our, if we didn't have our formatting marks on, we wouldn't be able to see that was a hard break, because it would just be, a big blank space right there. And so now we've got this text is at the top of that next page. So far, so good, looking all right. And so the next thing we want to do is we want to scroll down to page 2, where we've got this preventative options for serious travelers. And right here, I'm going to go and take my insertion point right in front of that. And here I'm going to hold Control. So for Tracy, it's going to be Command, but I'm going to hold Control and push Enter. And when I do that, it does the same thing as adding a page break to it. So we're just creating a hard page break for this. All right. So, yes, okay. All right. So now I'm going to go to the bottom of page 3. And I'm going to bring my insertion point right in front of this insurance for travelers. And I'm going to do the same thing, either Control Enter or go up to your layout option and add a page break. And again, we're just taking this opportunity to look at where a good spot for a page break would be. And so we can kind of add those ourselves. So we don't have to let the program do it for us. We're just looking at, okay, it would be better if a heading started at each section or at each page. So that's what we're doing. And again, if I go and look at my view it in multiple pages, so now I can see on every page, I have a heading that begins. Did you have a question, Ellen?
No.
Oh, okay.
Okay, but I do. What did you just do? Like you went to the insurance for travelers and then what did you do? Like you were breaking up, so I didn't.
Okay, I'm sorry. I went to insurance for travelers and then I hit Control Enter.
Yeah.
Or you could just do your layout option.
So I have to do Command Enter, right?
For you, yeah.
Okay.
But it'll do the same thing. You're just inserting a page break.
Okay, I got it. Sorry.
No, no worries.
Okay.
All right. So we can continue. Why is that? All right. So we've got that. So we've got these page breaks kind of all identified, you know, a good spots for all of them. I'm going to come up to this page 2 where we've got this one page break where this preventative medicine or preventative stuff. I'm going to kind of zoom in here because I'm going to eliminate that page break because now we decided that we don't necessarily need that one here. So what all I'm going to do is I'm going to come up and where it says page break, I'm just going to hit my delete key and it will take that page break right out. And then I'm also going to delete if yours created that kind of green paragraph mark, get rid of that one too. And now I'm going to go down to that medical kit. And then this is where I'm going to insert my page break because we had a little too much space there. So I'm just going to go ahead. And again, you can either Control Enter or Command Enter if you're on a Mac, or just come up here and insert a page break. And so now this is how it's going to look for us. So this page 1 has got that travel health to go. Page 2 starts with malaria, a serious health risk. Page 3 starts with medical kit and personal items. And then page 4 is that insurance for travelers. All right, so shaping up nicely. I'm going to go ahead and say save that to save our progress. And so now we've got this multiple page document. So now it's going to be helpful if we add page numbers into it. So we're going to go ahead and do that. So I'm going to go to my Insert tab. Because on our Insert tab is where we have our headers and footers right over here. So I'm going to go to page number. So for me, it's right over here. So I'm going to click on that little down pointing arrow by page number. And then it's going to ask me where I want to put a page number. So I can say the top of the page, the bottom of the page, in the margin of a page. I'm going to go ahead and choose bottom of page. So I'm just going to hover over it. And then when I hover over it, it gives me a bunch of different options. I'm going to go ahead and say plain number 2. So it's going to be this simple one, plain number 2. It's just going to give us a page number in the center of the footer. And so you can see, here we go. We've got page 1, 2, 3, and 4. Yep, Tracy, question?
Yeah, of course, mine doesn't say that. And now I don't know what I'm doing. Like when I hit the down for page number, it says page number, format page number, or remove page numbers.
You can go page number and then position bottom of page footer is going to be the first box, and then alignment center. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, thanks.
You're very welcome. And thank you for asking and not letting me leave you behind. All right. And again, if any of you don't get it, or if I break out or something, by all means, just tell me to stop. I am totally fine like redoing it. No problem at all. All right. So again, we put our page number in the bottom bottom of our page in the footer in the center. But typically when we create a multi-page document, we don't want our page number on the first page. And so there's one thing that we can do to kind of eliminate that. And is if we come to that, the first page, the page that we don't want, that we want to have a little bit different, if we click on different first page, then you'll notice it took it out of the page 1, but it left it on page 2, 3, and 4. And again, I just brought my insertion point back to page 1. And you don't even have to, if you're in the footer or the header, it doesn't make a difference, but we want our page 1 to be different from the other ones. So we have to make sure that we're in page 1 when we say different first page.
Okay, sorry.
No,
I
no worries.
can't find my different first page.
Let's see. You have a little checkbox that says show number on first page, right where your page numbers are, like where you went to do where you went to put your page number.
Well, am I in insert? What am I supposed to be in right now?
So you're in your insert tab, and then
Yeah.
in that page number group. So you've got your header, footer, page number. So click on that.
Yeah.
And then click page number. And then
Okay.
you can see right under where you have bottom of page center, there's a button that says show number on first page. It should be like a little check box right below that.
It's bottom of page footer. And then the alignment.
Alignment says center, and then right below that, there's a checkbox that says show number on first page. Just deselect that, and it should take your page number out.
Got it. Okay.
Right, now you just need to remember how to do all of this stuff when you're actually doing it on your own.
I said, like, Shane, I'm not going to remember anything.
I'm gonna get a text at 9 o'clock at night. I'm creating a report. How do I get rid of this page?
I know exactly. Where is it on my Mac?
All right. So again, we've gotten rid of that page number right there. So now we're going to go ahead and we want to add a header to this as well. So I'm going to come up to my page 1 in that header. And then I'm going to click on where it says header up here. And I'm just going to choose the blank header. And I'm just making sure that it's the same thing for, so for you, Tracy, you're just going to hit the first option as blank. And then here I'm going to type reason to go health information for travelers. Oopsie, and you want to type it where it says type here. I started typing it outside of that, but where it says type here, if you type it right there, it's automatically going to get rid of that text for you. But it's reason to go health information for travelers. All right. And so now I've got that. I'm also going to do Control E to center the text, or Command E with the Mac. And again, I'm using my shortcut because otherwise I'm going to have to leave my header and footer contextual tab to get back to my regular home tab. And then we also want to go ahead and we want to change that font. So I'm going to select that. And so Tracy, you might have to go back to your home tab to do this. But if you're running the Windows, when you select the text, your mini toolbar is going to open, and that's where I'm going to change it. And again, the mini toolbar is nice because if you're in a contextual tab, you don't have to leave the contextual tab to navigate to the home tab to format the text. And so that's one of the reasons that they developed that. And again, so I'm going to select that text and the mini toolbar is going to open. I'm going to change that font from Times New Roman to Berlin Sans FB Demi. And if yours doesn't show up near the top, just type in like BERL and it should Berlin, one of the Berlin fonts will show up, and then Sans FB Demi will be very close around it. But we're changing the font to Berlin Sans FB Demi, and then we're changing the color of it to blue accent 5. So I'm just going to click on that blue accent 5. And then we've also centered it. And again, so I just did Control E to center it. All right, and so now since we want this on our first page. But since we did that, we took our different first page footer and header, now we don't have it showing up on here. So I'm gonna go ahead and go to page 2, and then now I'll have to do the same thing. So I'm gonna go insert my header, the blank one, and then just type that same thing up here, that health or reason to go, health information for travelers. All right, and then again, I'm going to Control E and select it. I've already changed it. The last time I used it was that font color. I'm just going to click on that font color to change it to blue, and then I'm going to change it to Berlin Sans FB, and now it should be right there for you because you used it just recently. So it should come up in your recently used ones. All right, so now with now that I'm up here, I'm going to go to this little options right over here in our header and footer. And it's actually in the navigation right next to it. So in the navigation, I'm going to say go to footer. And so when I do that, bloop, it's going to bring me right down to the footer. And again, once I'm in the footer, I can go to header. So I'm just going to select on that footer, and then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to change the font to Berlin Sans FB Demi, and then change the color to blue. That blue that we just used, blue accent 5. Come on. There we go. All right, so now I can go ahead and then in my header footer group, I'm just going to say close header footer. And then you'll notice the one thing that, oh, did I spell something wrong up here? Yeah, I must have. And one of the things, health information, when we're in our header and footer, and I think we talked about this with like lesson 2, that the rest of our document is kind of grayed out. If I click down here, nothing happens. I don't have access to it when I'm in my header or footer. But if I double click, then my main document is active, or so it's kind of focused in on, and then that header and footer is now grayed out, and so I don't have access to that. So if you're working in your header and footer, you can't work in the main document and vice versa. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and save our progress so far. And now we are going to do is add a table to this document. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go to that preventative options for serious travelers. We're going to get that to the top of our document. And we're going to select that heading. So we're going to select that heading and the 2 paragraph marks below it. So this is where it's helpful to have your formatting marks turned on. All right, so we've selected that and the 2 paragraphs below it. And now what we're going to do is we're going to go up in our layout tab. We're going to go to our columns group, or our page group in that columns, and we're just going to click 1 for columns. And again, so what we're doing is we're just selecting this piece of text, the preventative options for serious travelers, and then the 2 paragraphs below it. And for this section only, we're changing it to 1 column. So I'm going to go ahead and click on 1. And then again, I'm going to go back to multiple pages so you can see, get a better view of what we did. All right, so everything else is still in 2 columns, just this one little section right here. And that's because we're going to insert a table that's going to kind of fill up this bottom portion. So I'm going to go back to my page width. And then right down here, I'm just going to bring my insertion point below the first, at the first paragraph mark. And then I'm going to go to my Insert tab. And then I'm going to choose Table. And then now it's going to ask us what kind of table we want. And so we're going to go ahead and choose, if you want to do a, choose it from right here, you can choose it right from right here. You can draw the table. I would suggest doing it this way, because we're going to create a table that is what, 6 columns, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 columns and 6 rows. So I'm just going to come out 5 columns and then down 6 rows. Where is it? All right, so 5 columns and 6.
Okay, Shane, I'm
Yep.
like lost.
No, okay.
I don't know how to, okay, I know where you were at insert and doing that, but what was I supposed to do before that?
Oh, you
Like
just, did you change it to 1 page? Or 1 column, I'm sorry? So here, I'll back up. I'll just back up a couple steps.
Sorry.
No worries. So what we did is we selected this text, preventative options for serious travelers, and this is on page 2.
Yep, I
It's near
did
the bottom.
that,
And then you change it to 1 column?
Yep.
Okay, so we changed that to 1
No,
column.
I don't know if I changed, wait, change it to 1 column, like, yeah,
just-
I did that.
Okay, so now it's on the bottom of your page like this?
Yep.
Okay, so here we went into that where that first paragraph mark is right here. So I just brought my insertion point right in front of that, and then on my
Okay.
on my Insert tab in this Tables group, just click on that, and then just use this little grid that shows up for you, and we're going to create one that's 5 by
But the
6.
grid is not showing up for me. I don't know what I'm doing.
If you hit the little drop down arrow next to Tables, it should pop up. It's going to look like it's kind of grayed out, but it's there.
Yeah, I did that, but it's not, I found that part. Oh, great. Now my whole computer I lost everything because my phone started ringing. I did that, but then the grids didn't show up.
When I did it, it showed up. It's a little bit bigger than this, but it showed up.
Yeah, I can't get it to show up. So what is going on? And I put draw table.
No, don't do draw table. You want
to do insert table.
No, so you want to do insert and then table, hit the little drop down, and you want to use this thing up here. You want to go scroll out 5.
Okay.
Scroll out 5 and down 6.
Oh my gosh, what is happening?
Yeah, so I mean, unless somebody is really good at art, I would not recommend drawing a table. When we do the more advanced word class, I know there are a couple people did that survey that we sent out earlier today. But when we do the advanced word class, then in that project, we do like drawing tables, and drawing tables is so inconvenient because it's just really nitpicky. So did yours come in yet?
Okay, now it did it.
Okay.
Sorry, everyone. Oh, you guys
no
are going to be so glad when this day is over.
No worries. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and we're just going to fill this table out. So this is, again, it's preventative options for serious travel health issues. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to create this table. Right over here, we're going to have different diseases And then over here, up across the top, we're going to have different like treatments for that. And so starting over here, I'm going to put disease. And then you can tab over or use your arrows over. And then the next one's going to be vaccine. And then the next one is going to be prophylaxis drug. So prophylaxis drug, and then eat and drink safely, and then finally avoid insects. And if it goes on to 2 lines, that's okay, because we can fix it in just a little bit. So disease, vaccine, prophylaxis drug, eat and drink safely, and avoid insects. And then the diseases that we're dealing with are going to go down this column. So first is malaria. And then I'm just using my down arrows at this point. And then typhoid, hepatitis A, and then cholera and Japanese encephalitis. All right, and again, so we've got our diseases are malaria, typhoid, hepatitis A, cholera, and then Japanese encephalitis. And then across the top, we had vaccine, prophylaxis drug, eat and drink safely, and then avoid insects. And so now to
coronavirus in there.
But you know, not at this point. We could put it in there, but
I was
not yet.
thinking of typhoid. I was thinking of typhoid, and my sister, because I'm from Kenya, my sister was joking that they should bottle typhoid. It helps lose weight really quick.
Yeah. So if you're, and so I don't know who I was talking with. Somebody, was it in like the last session we had, and they were talking about COVID-15, and it was like putting on 15 pounds because you're sitting at home all the time. And I'm like, I'm feeling like I have the COVID-15 right now. So
So
yeah. All right. So what we've got here, so we've got this little table, and now what we're going to do is we're just going to put little check marks in these boxes for which one of these treatments is going to be best for this. And so the way we're going to do that is I'm going to come up from malaria first. So for malaria, a prophylaxis drug and avoiding insects are going to be the way to go. So I'm just going to bring my insertion point into this spot where it says prophylaxis drug. And then I'm still in my insert tab, and I'm going to come all the way over to the right, and I'm going to choose a symbol. So I'm going to click on that symbol option. And then for right now, you can see, since I've done this, I use check marks a lot when I'm making lists for like working with my peers, but you probably don't have a check mark right in here in your recently used symbols. So I'm just going to click on more symbols. And then here, we're going to go ahead and make sure we're in the, and I think it's going to be the symbols menu. So if we click on where it says font, right now mine says Wingding, but if you change that to symbol, I think that's where it's going to be. And then when we change it to symbol, we're going to get these other options. Let me check to see. I don't see it there. Let's see, where is it going to be? Maybe it is in the Wingdings. Let's see. I'm going to try the Wingdings instead. And so Wingdings and Webdings are kind of fun. They are just a bunch of different little symbols that you can add to your document. The Webdings are going to be things that you might find when you're like browsing the internet. but wingdings are going to be just like kind of fun little symbols that you can add. And there's actually 3 different menus of wingdings. I think it's going to be in a wingding 1. And so when I go to wingding 1, so you can see like you've got like a little blood droplet, you've got a snowflake, you've got some different crosses, you've got a Star of David, you got a yin and yang. And if we scroll down a little bit, there's that check mark. And so if you can't find the check mark, make sure that if you're in this little symbols area, just click right down here where it says from. And if you change this to the symbol decimal option, and then character code 252. And so that's another way you can enter this. So if you knew that this was character code 252, you could just come to this insert symbol box and just type 252 and then insert, and then it's right there. Oopsie, close. All right, so then once we've got this populated in here, I'm just going to come over here and then Control C, or you can copy it, or Command C if you're on a Mac, because I'm going to copy it, because then when I copy it, it's going to be much easier to insert it. So again, like I said, with malaria, we want prophylaxis drug and avoiding insects. So I'm just going to come over to avoid insects, and then Control V or paste, whichever one's easier for you. And then I'm going to choose, I think I can do all these at the same time because vaccines can work for all of those. And then I'm going to hit Control V again. So I just clicked in typhoid, drug down, and then Control V, and it put that little check mark in all of them. And then we want for typhoid is going to be eat and drink, and also cholera. And then for avoiding insects, Japanese encephalitis. And so this, I'm going to turn my formatting marks off for just a minute so you can see where those little check marks go. And again, however, I mean, you could insert each one of those using that symbol option menu. It's just going to be a couple extra steps. But so ultimately, you just want to have the, other than malaria, everything is a vaccine. Then malaria has a prophylaxis drug and avoiding insects. To eat and drink safely will help prevent typhoid and cholera. And then also in Japanese encephalitis, avoid insects. And so this is what that table should look like. So if you don't have that table populated like that, let me know. Otherwise, I'll keep going. All right. Good, good. Okay, so now what we're going to do is I'm going to come up here and select this table. And so if you just click on that little, it kind of looks like a crosshairs or the little plus in the top left corner, and that's going to select the entire table. And then when I do that, you can see now, since I'm working in a table, I've got my contextual tabs for a table. I have a table design tab and the table layout tab. What I'm going to do is I'm going to select that table layout tab. And then in this cell size group, I'm going to go to this auto fit button, and I'm going to hit the little drop down. And so now with auto fit, we have a couple different options. So we can do auto fit contents, and we can auto fit window. And so the difference is if we choose auto fit content, and I'll kind of show you what both of them are. Ultimately, we're going to choose auto fit window. But if I do auto fit contents, you can see what it does is it will automatically fit the contents of this table into the smallest table that we can get. Ugh, sorry, looks like my internet, I get the little message again. So if I'm breaking up, I apologize. So that again, auto fit contents gives us the smallest table possible. I'm going to undo that for a second. But if we do auto fit window, it will automatically fit that table across the whole window. Why isn't it doing it though? Auto fit contents. So we can, or otherwise we can do that auto fit window. And again, it's going to fit it across that the whole thing. But then if we don't like the way it looks, like if we think, you know what, that vaccine is a little too small, we can just come over to, so I can say prophylaxis and eat and drink safely. Those ones could be a little narrower. So I'm just going to narrow those down a little bit. Again, I'm just clicking and holding on the, with my left mouse on the border between those cells and just pulling it over a little bit. And that way it's going to change that dimension just a touch. And then I'm also going to select this text right here. So I'm just going to come over. If I hover over right above vaccine, I'm going to get that little bold down pointing arrow. I'm just going to click and hold, drag across with my left mouse, and then I'm going to highlight it. And then right over here, I'm also going to say align center, and it's going to align all that stuff into the center of that table. All right, so now we've got it, we've kind of got it formatted how we want for basic, you know, for that basic look. But now we can also apply a table style since we've got, you know, since we want it to kind of match the layout of everything else. So with here, I'm gonna also, I've got this table still selected. I'm gonna go to my table design tab. And then from here, I can go ahead and choose a table style. I'm gonna choose the list table 3, accent 5. So again, here's our table styles. I'm just gonna click on here, and here's our grid table, list table. I'm choosing list table 3, accent 5. So this is list table 1, here's list table 3. So it's gonna be kind of a really darker blue. And then what that's gonna do, it's gonna give us like a bold royal blue header row, and then it's gonna make our column headings bold. All right. So far, so good. All right, so now we're pretty much done with the formatting, formatting this. So if we do have, for some reason, like you can see, I've got this blank page right here. And if that happens, I'm just gonna go ahead and turn on my formatting marks again. And you can see right here, I've got this, because I've got a page break. If you have this, just go ahead and hit delete. And then I hit delete 2 times because I wanted to get rid of that green paragraph mark. But again, so you just want medical kit to be at the top of that 3rd page. All right, so now that we've got that more or less formatted how we want, I'm going to turn off my formatting marks again. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to add some footnotes and some endnotes to this document. And so again, it's always helpful to cite your sources to give authority. I'm going to go Control Home to go to the beginning of my document. And then I'm going to bring my insertion point to the end of that first body paragraph in the 2nd column. So where it says, such as a conference center or a resort. So I'm going to bring my insertion point at the end of that. And then on my reference tab, I'm going to go ahead and say insert footnote. So here's our footnote. I'm going to go ahead and say insert footnote. Right, and so we have, make sure you're not doing an end note, we want a footnote. So insert footnote, and when I do that, it's going to bring up, it's going to put the footnote in superscript right up here, and then it's going to bring us to the bottom of our document, to that footer section. So this is where we can start typing the footnote. And so the footnote we want to say is, and I'll type it here for you. So behavior is a critical factor. Period. For example, going outdoors in a malaria endemic area could result in becoming infected. Area. All right, and again, so behavior is a critical factor, period. For example, comma, going outdoors in a malaria endemic, and malaria endemic is hyphenated, a malaria endemic area could result in becoming infected. All right, so then once you've got that text in, I'm going to bring in my insertion point right after the words public health. So it's at the end of the first page, but I'm just going to click right up here at the end of public health after that period. And then I'm going to insert another footnote. So I'm going to go ahead and say insert footnote again. And so then when I do that, you'll see it automatically brings up that number 2. And then I get my second footnote right here. And this footnote's going to read, it is best to consult a travel medicine specialist. Period. It is best to consult a travel medicine specialist. And then you'll notice that now that we've got these footnotes added, if we come over to this footnote number 2, if I hover over it, you'll see I get this little, it almost looks like a little note card, which is kind of what it is. And if I hover over that number 2, it'll give me the text of that footnote. It is best to consult a travel medicine specialist. And then the same thing, if I come up to this footnote 1, it'll give me that behavior is a critical factor, blah, 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 blah. All right. So I've got that. And now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to insert another footnote. And so now I'm going to go down to page 3. Oh, and then I got that break again. All right, so for me, it's going to be page 4 because it's the third page of text. I've got some blank one there that I'll have to manage in a minute. And we're going to go to the one where it says medications taken on a regular basis at home. And that's going to be in the second column under this other important items heading. So it's kind of below the hands that are painted like the globe. And then medications taken on a regular basis at home. I'm just going to bring my insertion point after that. And then again, insert a footnote. And then this footnote, now it's number 3. This footnote is going to read, all medications should be stored in carry-on luggage in their original containers and labeled clearly. All medications should be stored in carry-on luggage, comma, in their original containers and labeled clearly. All right, and then again, since we've added that footnote in, if we hover over it, we'll get the text of that footnote as well. Now I'm going to come over to this on the first column of this page where it says first. Ugh. All right, sorry if I was breaking up again, I apologize. So under this first aid items, we're going to come over to this one, and where we've got the sunscreen. Don't we have a sunscreen over here? Where did it go? Huh. We should have something that says sunscreen, but I don't see it. Oh my goodness. Well, we're going to add it in and delete it anyway, but there should be, that's bizarre. There should be another bullet here. I've done this so many times, but there should be a bullet that says sunscreen at the end of this list. Oh, you know what? It's right over here. That's why. Sorry. My bad. Other important item, sunscreen. That's why I couldn't find it. I'm looking in the wrong spot. Again, here we're going to insert another footnote. So insert footnote, and then SPF 15 or greater. And then now we're going to go to this other column. So I knew we added one behind where we were. I was just in the wrong spot. So now we're going to come to this column over here where we have this first aid items. And then in this side where it says disposable gloves. And so it's right here, disposable gloves. So after disposable gloves, we're going to insert a footnote again. And then we're going to say at least 2 pairs. And so then you see when we did that, it renumbered all of the footnotes after it. So the old footnote number 3, that was that medications, from medications taken at home, that one was now changed to 4. And then our sunscreen one that was number 4 is now 5. And so then we're going to add one more after the scissors, safety pins, and tweezers. Again, insert footnote. And then this one is going to say, pack these items in checked luggage. All right. So now I'm going to go, so I've got these footnotes in here. So right now I've got 6 of them. I'm going to go to Control Home to go to the beginning of my document. And then in my reference group, I'm going to click on the button that says Next Footnote. And so this next footnote, this is just a way to navigate through our footnotes so we can kind of look at what our footnotes are. So I'm going to click Next Footnote. It's going to bring me to that first footnote right down here. And again, hover over it. Behavior is a critical factor. Okay, good, good. And then I'm going to go to the next footnote again. All right, that's good. I'm going to click next footnote again. And then we've got this disposable gloves. We need 2 pairs. And that one we'll say, you know what? We don't necessarily need this one. Let's go ahead and get rid of it. So again, all I have to do is I've got my insertion point right before it, before that little number 3. And again, because it automatically will come up that way. I'm going to hit the delete key 1 time, and it's going to select the footnote. And then I'm going to hit the delete key 1 more time, boop, and then it gets rid of that footnote. And again, I had to do it 2 times because I first had to select it and then get rid of it. All right, now I can go ahead and save my changes. And then now we are going to go ahead and we're going to insert some citations. So we added some footnotes in there. Now we also want to go ahead and insert some citations. And again, got a little message that said my connection is unstable. So I apologize if I'm cutting out a lot today. I don't know why it's doing that. So we're going to insert our citations. So I'm going to go down to put my insertion point after the text, people travel, but this is going to be in the first paragraph of text right here. Where did it go? So the first paragraph in the first column, I thought, yeah, right here. So other major reasons people travel. So I'm going to bring my insertion point after the text, but before the period. So when we're adding footnotes and endnotes, we'll always put those notes outside of the sentence. When we're creating a citation will go inside the period. And so make sure that we're inside this little period after people travel. And then we're still in our references. All right. And so now we're going to make sure that in the citations and bibliography group, your style is MLA. And so the nice thing about this is that you can see if I click on that little drop down, I have all these different styles that I can choose from. If I'm writing something in APA style, I can use that. Chicago's Manual of Style, I can use that. All of these different options are here, but we want to use the MLA style. And actually MLA is in its 10th edition right now. Yes, Tracy. Did you have a question?
I can't find mine.
Let me check. Let's see, references. Okay, yours doesn't say anything in it. Yours, you have insert citations. So you've got a citations and bibliography group right there. And yours says like insert citation, and then it has like a little blank area with like, it looks like a little open book with a pen in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So click on that little down pointing arrow and that's going to bring you this menu.
Okay.
And then choose MLA.
Oh, okay. All right, got it.
All right. So we're going to choose MLA. And again, our insertion point is after this people travel. And so with our insertion point right there, we're going to go ahead and we're going to insert a citation. So I'm going to click on the insert citation button. Again, it's in the citations and bibliography group. I'm going to say insert citation. And when I insert a citation, it's automatically going to bring up other sources that are in this document already. And so if I'm reusing something, I can just click on it. But if I'm using something new, I'll have to enter it. So in this case, I'm going to say add a new source. So when I say add a new source, it's going to bring up this create source dialog box. And this is where we can enter all the information that we need. So I'm going to go ahead, it's going to say a type of source that we're entering. So we're going to enter a report. So I'm just going to click on this drop down and you can see we've got journal article, a periodical, website, report, conference proceedings. I'm going to go ahead and say report. And then when I click on report, it'll automatically change to the essential components of that entry in MLA style. And so here I'm going to go ahead and say it's for the author. It's a corporate author that we're going to use. It's from the World Tourism Organization. So I'm going to click corporate author. It's going to gray out this one. And then I'm just going to go ahead and type who the author is. Again, it's World Tourism Organization. All right. And then I can tab to navigate between the fields. The title is Tourism Highlights. And the year is 2017. And then again, I'm just tabbing to toggle between the fields. The publisher is World Tourism Organization. And it's from Madrid. And it's a white paper. And then finally, the medium is print. All right, and so you won't have to deal anything with those tags. The tags are going to be automatically generated by the software, and all the tags are is it's just a combination of the author and the year it was published. And so you can see right now this is WER 17, which just means it's the World Tourism Organization 17. Yours may or may not say 2 on it. Yours might just say WER 17. Mine says 2 because I think I've already got it in here as well because I've done this project before. But so if yours just says WER 17, that's totally fine too. And so I've got all the information in for this specific heading or this specific source. I'm going to go ahead and say OK. All right. And then when I do that, you'll see it brings in right into this document, World Tourism Organization. And it's kind of grayed out, which means it's a field. So the program automatically has inserted that field for us. All right. And so now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to, so if I click on this citation, this World Tourism Organization, I'll select it, but I also get this little drop-down box. I'm going to click on that. Come on. And then it's going to ask me what I want to do. Do I want to edit the citation? Do I want to edit the source? Do I want to convert it to static text, which means I'll get rid of the field? And I'm going to say I want to edit the citation because I want to add a page number to it. So it says add a page number. I'm going to go say, click in that page number box and type 19 because it's on page 19 of this document. Then I'm going to say OK. And then you can say, then you can see that it automatically says World Tourism Organization 19. And so hopefully if you ever, like me, had to suffer through creating all of these things on like your note cards and then cataloging them and organizing them and alphabetizing them, this is so much easier. All right, so now we're going to add another source to this document. So we're going to go down. Oh, sorry if it's bugging out again. All right, so we're going to scroll down and put our insertion point at the end of that quotation that says, after blah, 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 health consequences. So again, after the citation, but before the period, or after the quotation, but before the period, and then we're going to go ahead and insert citation and then add new source. And this one is going to be a document from a website. And again, so we're just going to scroll through it. Document from a website. And this time, you can also see we've got this option down at the bottom that says show all fields or show all bibliography fields. If you click on that, come on, then more fields will open up for us if we need them. And sometimes you'll need more fields, sometimes you won't. But that option is available if you have more information you need to enter. And so I'm going to go ahead, click corporate author. It's the same, it's the corporate author again, only this time it's the World Health Organization. Oh, come on. Sorry. I was typing and looking at my Mac to see if there was something I could do with that. All right. And so the name is the International Travel and Health 2017 edition. So again, the name of the webpage, International Travel and Health 2017 edition. I see I've got some spelling errors. I'm not going to worry too much about it right now. The name of the website is World Health Organization website. And then the year, again, so this is important whenever you're citing a website. it's important that you cite both the date that you accessed that site and also the date that that information was published, if that information is available. At very least, you should have when you accessed that information and the year that the information was created. But if you can, get the date the information was posted on the internet as well as when you accessed it. And so in this case, it was published on January 10th of 2017. So 2017, January 10. And then we accessed the information on March 11th of 2017. So 2017, March 11, not 111. And then the medium is web. And I'm going to go ahead and say OK. All right, so now I've got that World Health Organization, and I'm spelled it world, a little weird. Now I'm going to scroll down to the bottom of the second page where it has that table on it. And then I'm going to put my insertion point on that paragraph mark below the table. I know it's there because I added it there, but if you don't see it, you can go to that formatting mark option to turn them on. And then right below here, I'm going to type source, colon, and then space. And then here I'm gonna put a citation, but I'm not gonna add a new one. This one I'm just gonna use an existing one. So I'm gonna come up to that references tab again, and then insert citation, that little drop down. And this time we're gonna choose this Margaret Johnson one. So just click on Margaret Johnson, and then it automatically puts Margaret Johnson's name in there. And then I'm going to edit that source to include the page number 55. Again, so just click on it, edit citation, and page 55. Okay. All right, so now we've just got one little kind of step left. We're going to create our bibliography. So what we're going to do here is we're going to manage our sources and we're going to create our bibliography as well. So I'm going to go Control End to go to the, and don't do Control N like new, because if you do Control N, you're going to create a new document. Control End will bring us to the very end of our document. And then here, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to insert a bibliography. And so hopefully, if you've never done this before and you see how easy this is, you'll think, I wish this was available, 20 years ago or 30 years ago. For me, it's 30 years ago when I was in high school. So I'm just going to go ahead in this citations and bibliography group right here. I'm going to click on the Manage Sources button first. And so here we can see all of our different sources. And so you can see that we've got a master list and a current list. And so that anything that has a check mark by it is currently being used in this document. If it doesn't have a check mark, it means it's not being used in the document. And then this master list would be anything that we've entered into it. And so I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to click on that Mary Baker, like My Adventures.
Okay. Hey,
Yep.
Shane, I can't find the manage sources.
Yours is, let's see. Huh. Click on the thing that says citations. It's between MLA and insert citations. It looks like a little book.
Yeah.
Do you see it?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you click on that, it should open something on the side that has a list of sources.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so
So then I do Mary Baker.
Yeah, so if you click on Mary Baker's name and then at the bottom hit the little minus sign, it should take her out.
Okay.
Do you see it?
Yep.
Okay, good. All right. Cool, cool. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're just going to kind of clean up our sources so we don't include everything in here. And again, when you're creating a works cited page, you're only going to include documents that you have actually cited within that document that you've created. If you're creating a reference or a works consulted page, then all of the materials that you've used in creating that report or that document will go into it. But so you just have to make sure that you understand the difference between a reference page, a works cited page, and a works consulted page in the bibliography. And there's lots of different names for it, but just understand the differences of how you're using them. All right, so again, we're going to get rid of that Mary Baker. So I'm just going to click on Mary Baker and I'm going to say delete. And we're going to delete her out of there because we're not using it at all. And I'm going to close this. All right, so now we've got that closed. I'm going to click on that bibliography button. So right down here, and it's going to bring us some built-in options. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click the thing that says references. So it says references. I'm just going to click on that. And then when I do that, you'll see it automatically brings in my bibliography. And it's automatically creating it in MLA format, which is about the coolest darn thing imaginable, I think. I just think that is so cool. Every time I do this, I'm like, oh, I wish I had this 30 years ago. All right, so now once we've got that in, we can go ahead and select that references label. And I'm going to change it to the Berlin Sans FB Demi and green, accent 6, and then 11-point font. So again, I'm just going to come up to my home tab, change it to that green Berlin Sans FB Demi that we've been using, change it to 11-point instead of 14-point. And then I'm going to change it to that green accent 6 color. All right. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back up. I'm going to, with my formatting marks turned on, I just want to see, okay, so I just have this page break in here that's still kind of floating around. I'm just going to delete it. And then I'm back to the 4 pages. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and view it, multiple pages. And so there's our headline is across the top in 1 column. We've got all of our text in 2 columns. We've got this table we've inserted in 1 column. And then we've got our bulleted list with our little citations down here. Our footnotes are there. And then we've got our reference page right over here, our reference section. And we are still on 4 pages. So when we started that document, we had almost 5 full pages, and we added a table, some citations, and a complete bibliography, and we took away a page. So again, it's all about formatting the document and cleaning it up. So now let's go ahead and save that work. And any questions on that? None? You guys are way too good. You could be teaching this class. All right, so then we've only got like 4 minutes left, so we won't really have a chance to do that other project that I sent out, which is kind of a bummer. But if you get a chance, it's a really fun project to do. I can go ahead and open it just so you can kind of see what it is. But what it is, we're creating a menu for a catering company. And so we're creating it as a trifold brochure. and I think it was 4.3. Yeah. And so what it is so you can see right now it's 3 pages, but what we're going to end up doing is we change it into 2 pages. So it's going to be front and back, but it's going to be like a trifold brochure instead. And so it's a really, really fun little project. So I was a control all, and then we change. So what we start by doing is basically changing it to a landscape orientation, and then we change it into 3 columns. But our columns are going to be spaced very closely together, and then we're going to have a line between them to divide, to kind of separate them. And so you can see we've also got these catering services that are going to be on a different page. So we're really kind of formatting this and creating this menu that we could, you know, sell our wares to. So it's a really fun little project. I really enjoy this one, but if you get a chance, I would highly recommend just going through and completing it. I think I've included the directions on that Google Classroom as just like a one-page sheet on what to do for it, but it's really fun. You know, kind of gives you some tips and tricks if you do need to create like a trifold brochure for, you know, your school or the company that you work for or whatever. All right, and then another project that's very fun is that visual workshop. It's a little 1-page newsletter about, I think it's called the Gardener's Workbook or the Gardener's Notebook or something. And it's a little essay about planting perennials. And that's another fun one because it's going to give you an image of what your document should look like, and then you're just going to have to create it. So you get the base, all the text for the document, but then you kind of create it on your own. So that's another fun one. All right, so any questions on any of that stuff that we did today? And again, I know this is a lot of material to cover in 2 weeks, like 4 sessions. Did you have a question, LM?
The Google.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Ellen.
I didn't get the Tuesday recording and the last week one. I just want to revise, and can you post it all? I didn't get email from you too.
I just looked at the classrooms today, and it looks like they're all there. So if you go to that Google Classroom, it should be in here. Let me check. Nope. I'm getting the little unstable connection thing again. There's the video for lesson 1, lesson 2, lesson 3, lesson 4. So all the Excel ones are there. And let me see about the Word ones. Oh, sorry. Okay, let's see. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. If I was cracking up the whole time, let me know. All right. So Word lesson 1 is there. The video for that one. Let's see. I don't see that lesson 2 one there. Where did they go? Oh, lesson 3 won't be there, or lesson 3 should be there because I uploaded that. Lesson 4 is just today. So I'll check that, but those other ones should be in here somewhere because I know I posted them all, and I kind of double checked today to make sure everything was updated. So I will,
Okay.
I'll look for them.
When you have time, can you check the email?
Check my email?
My email.
Oh, you sent me an email.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I didn't get anything from you. So.
Okay. So I will, so you mean for like to invite you to the class?
Thank
even?
you.
Yep. Yeah, I see.
No.
Khadija, you're in the class.
We didn't get a Zoom link.
Oh yeah, the Zoom link. Yeah. So that I apologize.
So for PowerPoint, can you send us a link?
Yeah, I can send a link for that. And again, if you accepted the invitation to join, it, it should be in your calendar. Like if you go to your calendar, it should be right there. But I can also send the link out right now.
Thank you.
Yep. All right. So does anybody else have any questions, or is that it? All right. So then I can let.
Is this our last day today?
This is the last one for the word. Yes. And again, and I think you should get like a little survey that says, did you find this useful, or was Shane a jerk, or whatever? And then also if you would be interested in more classes, because we've been talking about offering some more advanced classes to help people who want to go a little bit further. And so if you're interested in that, we would be willing to offer some classes where you get to kind of dive into the applications a little bit more deeply. But you should get
thank you.
You should get like a little survey on that one. All right.
Okay, I want to join the next one.
Okay. Okay. All right. And again, so if I'm going to see you again in a couple of minutes, awesome. If not, then thank you. This is our last class together for now. All right. So I will end the meeting.
Thanks, John.
Yep. You're very welcome. You're welcome. Thank
Thank you.
Yep. And I will send that link out right now. All right.
Okay.
Thank you.